And whilst in the short and immediate responses are required, I am committed to delivering long-term sustainable solutions to poverty in all its forms. My department is leading on the development of the Executive's anti-poverty strategy, and the development of this strategy identifies inequalities and focuses on action to address these issues and barriers which undermine equality of outcome for all of our people who are at risk of poverty. And indeed, these will also sit alongside other inclusion strategies around gender, around disability, around LGBTQI+ as well. The issue of food poverty and indeed poverty cuts across all departments, and tackling this in the longer term must be considered within a broader context of an anti-poverty strategy. This is developed and involved with communities, and we've been working through a co-design process in terms of what that strategy should look like over the next period of time. And again, the quicker that we can get a functioning executive up and running, I can bring those strategies forward then to be implemented and to be taken forward as soon as possible. It's difficult to talk about food poverty without mentioning fuel. And I've already mentioned that the heat or eat dilemma many will face and the scale of the rising costs, which are leading people to the question of whether they can afford to use their cooking appliances or not. And I actually just had a conversation with somebody outside where this is a real issue. We can all see through social media, and I suppose through WhatsApp messages as well, there are images going through, you know, how many kilowatts you need to heat your oven compared to a different type of appliance. So it is getting real for people. The fears beginning to build within our communities as well. And we do need urgent responses in terms of the spiralling costs around fuel support over the next few months. I continue through the department, we continue to have engagements with the utilities regulator, with the Consumer Council and with other stakeholders in relation to increased energy costs and wider issues relating to fuel poverty. And indeed, within the last month, I met the British Chancellor along with the Economy Minister as well. We urged and said that we need a greater financial support package similar to what happened during COVID to ensure that we do help people in the short term and the immediate term to get over what is going to be a bleak winter, but of course to turn to the medium to longer term in terms of reducing poverty levels across the board. My department's also at an early stage of development and a co-design of a fuel poverty to ensure that the transition to net zero in line with climate action obligations are met. As the scoping process and appropriate stages in the process, there will be extensive engagement with key departments and a broad range of external stakeholders and interested parties. And again, with the inclusion strategies around poverty and gender, we will also be co-designing this strategy as well with the communities at the grassroots who actually see the impact of this at first hand. And in these challenging times, I recognise the pressure being put upon our voluntary and community sectors. They were a critical partner in delivering emergency responses to COVID. They sat with me on a monthly basis in designing solutions during the COVID pandemic and bringing forward legislation and new policies. And it is for that reason that I have re-established it under this cost of living emergency and crisis as well, because they do hear and see it firsthand how our communities are being impacted. They look at issues such as, you know, the rural-urban divides, and different types of resources and approaches are needed depending on where people are living and how people are living as well. And we are meeting again next week as part of that group to see how we can take some of those strategies forward. And I suppose at a time of increased demand for services, they themselves within our community and voluntary sector are also struggling. I've been out across the north over the last couple of months. I've been listening to organisations who are delivering excellent services, who are really there when people are needed. They were there during the pandemic, delivering food parcels, prescriptions. Also in terms of our independent advice service, stood up a free phone helpline for people, and that's one of the initiatives we're looking at as well, so that people have a single point of contact that they can ring and they can be advised in terms of the supports and entitlements that are there for them. But as with households facing rising energy costs, so too does our voluntary and community sector. So whether that's creche facilities, whether that's health and wellbeing centres, whether that's the local community centre where somebody can actually go in for a cup of tea to stay warm, to actually go and meet other people, to look at support. We need to ensure that these buildings remain open, that their services continue to flow, that we can actually refocus their services to meet the current challenges that we have across our communities and our society at the moment. So I'm continuing to work with them in terms of the support that is there at this time. So there's no doubt that this is a challenging winter ahead, and I'm not only committed to using all the tools that are available to me, but I am also committed in the next period that we do work collectively across government, across all of our agencies and arm's length bodies, but importantly that we're working with the community sector and voluntary sector as well, that we're engaging people directly on the ground to look at solutions that we can bring forward as soon as possible. And of course, to emphasise the need that we do need a functioning executive up and running again now in order to bring forward and deliver more solutions. So again, I know that there's going to be a lot of similarities or cross-cutting issues to the areas that we work in within the Department for Communities. I'm going to sit and listen for a while just to some of the contributions as well. And obviously, I look forward to hearing what is being said. And again, I hope you enjoy the rest of your event as well. So thanks very much and good luck.